This full moon in Scorpio might be one that you want to pay attention to. In this video, we're going to look at where this lunar cycle is going to be affecting you based on your moon sign. So if you normally follow tropical astrology, then I'll have a link down in the description so that you can calculate your sidereal placements. Or you could just subtract like 23 degrees. But if you don't want to do the math, the link's down below. We're going to look at this for the collective energies first, and then I'll go into each moon sign. So this is a Scorpio full moon in sidereal Vedic astrology, and Scorpio deals with intensity, right? And it's also going to be in the nakshatra Jyestha. So Jyestha reveals power struggles. There's jealousy there. There's this, need to feel protective, and there's also a bit of pressure. So this will be themes around arrogance and even a bit of hypocrisy as well. So if we can make it through this deep, transformative waters of Scorpio, then our shattered illusions are going to actually pave this new, beautiful space for us to grow and move on in our spiritual and personal journeys. So in your personal life, Moon in Scorpio shows where you're vulnerable, and it's indicated by where Scorpio is placed in your chart. So this will be based on your ascendant. Wherever Scorpio is, that house will show you themes where you feel the most vulnerable and insecure. And that's because Moon is debilitated in Scorpio. It just doesn't have the capacity to deal with change. It doesn't want to deal with anything different from its comfort zone, which is Taurus in the opposite sign. So let's look at the timing of this so that you can be paying attention to it. It's going to take place on June 10th, and I'm using Central Daylight Time. So June 10th, the moon and the sun will be in an exact opposition at 26 degrees, 26 minutes. Full moons are always a time to reflect on the current lunar cycle that you're in. So right now we are in a Taurus lunar cycle because the new moon was in Taurus. This is about 2 weeks ago, right? So there's a 28-day lunar cycle. 2 weeks is the full moon, 2 weeks is the new moon cycle. So full moons are always a time to reflect on the previous 2 weeks and what lessons we have learned from this cycle. So the sun actually is still in Taurus, and that's what makes it a full moon. It's where the moon is the brightest. It's receiving the full light of the sun. But the moon has traveled, so sun is still in Taurus, but the moon has traveled to the other side of the zodiac. So now it's time to reflect on those themes of what brings us comfort, where we find security that lasts, something that's not just a quick fix. So that's what I talked about in my new moon video, is what kind of security are you building that lasts? We're not talking about just fixing that quick desire so that you feel good in the moment. You want to build a foundation of security that will last based on what you value. And Moon was exalted in Taurus, right? So we felt good to do that. And it's now debilitated in Scorpio. So when the moon was in Taurus, it was under that comforting love and guidance of Venus. And that's the planet that brings us beauty and pleasure into all the things in our life. And it's also associated with peace. So the moon finds peace of mind in Taurus. But now that the moon is in Scorpio, it's under the rule of Mars. And Scorpio is actually the feminine representation, the feminine expression of Mars, who is a masculine planet. So the fight, Mars is a warrior, right? He likes to fight. The fight becomes emotional in Scorpio. And this is because the moon, our mind, is forced to reckon with the choices that we made. So if we decided to take shortcuts and have that quick fix and acquire things that were just for in the moment and not for long lasting value and stability, then now we're actually having to look back at those things and deal with them. So if you've been busy making choices that only served your comfort in the moment, then this full moon in Scorpio may bring up some of those same problems as before because you really didn't fix them, right? You really didn't bring this long-lasting solution. So the problem is now that now that Moon is debilitated, it doesn't really want to deal with change. It doesn't want to deal with having to come up with that solution to have long-lasting stability. It doesn't want to deal with that. So rather than take action and be courageous, the Scorpio Moon will be reactive and defensive and protective, and will have a chip on its shoulder. So Scorpio is that place of vulnerability, and depending on where your moon is in your chart, it will decide how this lunar cycle is going to play out for you. So I'm going to go over each moon sign now. So find your timestamp below. Thank you so much for watching, and I want to see you in your sign. All right, I'm going to start out with Scorpio Moon because this is your full moon. So got to start with you. This is going to be a very transformative time for you spiritually, your personal growth. You will likely feel the need to let go of something that you've probably been holding on to for quite a while, right? This Taurus Scorpio line is fixed energy. Both signs are fixed. So this might feel intense, but you're kind of used to that already. You know what you need to do, and you tend to hold on, especially in relationships, since this is your 1-7 axis. So it feels like that. And these fixed signs, Scorpio and Taurus. Now your ruling planet is Mars, and it just left Gandanta. So now it's all fired up in Leo. It's not debilitated anymore, so that does help. But it is headed towards this conjunction with K2. So all month is going to be squeezed with K2. And these next several weeks will bring up these themes of detachment and letting go. So if you already know what you need to do, then let this full moon illuminate that for you, right? The full moon is the brightest right now. Let it illuminate that change for you. Now, moon rules Cancer. So for you, from your moon sign, Cancer is 9 houses away. So this is actually really good. 9 houses away from anything is luck. It's fortune. But it also is revealing your emotional connection to higher learning, to your personal beliefs, and also perhaps a relationship with your father or a mentor, a teacher, some sort of father figure in your life. Now, this full moon is a turning point, and not because everything is changing all of a sudden, but because it's time for you to release what's been weighing on your heart, what's been there for that long time. Now it's time to finally let it go. It's almost like you've outgrown something, and deep down you feel that. So let this be your full moon moment to really trust the process, even if it feels uncertain, but you're used to that, right? Scorpio is your moon sign of uncertainty, and this really is a path about reclaiming your energy. So what you surrender now is going to create that space for clarity, but you just have to do it. It's going to give you that deeper purpose and perhaps even a more honest relationship with yourself, which is the most important relationship to build upon. So with that being said, I hope you have a happy full moon. I hope you have a great rest of the year. We'll check in later. But I just wanted to do this moon video and just do a little mid-year check-in, see how you're doing, and this was your full moon. So I wish you all the best, and I will see you in the next video. Sagittarius Moon. This full moon in Scorpio is taking place in your 12th house from your moon. So this is the house that deals with solitude, expenses. Could also deal with surrender, a bit of isolation. So it's time to let go of some old attachments so you can make way for that new that wants to come in, right? It's time to let go of those old things so the new stuff can come in. This is actually the end of a long cycle for you. Your moon's ruler, Jupiter, is ready to help, thankfully. It's opposing your natal moon right now, so giving really awesome luck and fortune. And as Jupiter is transiting Gemini right now, he's expanding your relationships and your ability to make compromises. So Moon rules Cancer, which is in your chart the 8th house of transformation. So your Moon rules 8 places from where it's placed. So this is dealing with transformation, hidden knowledge, and this can also deal with some kind of sudden shift in energies to get the ball rolling. That might kind of be your theme. Yeah, so when Moon transits your 12th house, it actually creates a Viparit Yoga, which is when 2 Dashthana houses come together. So in your case, Moon as 12th, as 8th from itself, going into the 12th house. So this is going to show that there takes some kind of sudden change in order for you to, it takes some kind of sudden change in order for you to take action sometimes, at least for you to feel like taking action. So this, yeah, so if you don't feel like it, yeah, it's definitely a feeling thing. So if something feels like it's dissolving right now, yeah, just trust that it's making space for something better. You don't have to control the next step. Just be open to it. This full moon is showing you what really you don't need to carry anymore. It's time to go. And you may be feeling that already. And with Jupiter opposing, he's definitely bringing guidance, and that's going to help you not feel so alone with that, right? It's going to be a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism, and it'll let you be able to let go with some of that grace. So what's ahead will be more balanced, and you'll have more clarity, a deeper sense of peace than what you're leaving. So it's just a matter of when you're ready to do that. And this full moon in Scorpio will be a very good time, right? Because the moon is the brightest, it's lighting it up for you to do it, for you to see what you need to let go of. All right. Well, with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of the year. I will see you again in another video. I just wanted to do this mid-year check-in with all of these shifts that have been taking place. They affect where they're influencing your moon, which is your mind. So anyways, I hope you have a great June, and I will see you in the next video. Capricorn Moon, this is your full moon in the 11th house from your moon. So this is the house that deals with your aspirations, your gains, your achievements, your friend circles. It's going to be a time to reflect on your achievements, your successes, and Scorpio is all about letting go. So it's going to be letting go of the fears that are holding you back from connecting with others. Let's see. Pluto has been and will be over your natal moon for many more years. So you probably are familiar now with that intensity that it's brought to your emotional mind and kind of how you take in the world right now. It may feel like everything's just upside down with that Pluto energy. So the matters of your 11th house will improve over time. Your moon's ruler, Saturn, is transiting Pisces right now. So this is 3rd from your moon, meaning that your Sati Sati period is over. So I don't know if you knew that you were in Sati Sati, but the last 7.5 years were a big karmic test from Saturn. So that's over with. You're in the clear. So I know the last few years have probably been crazy, but they should start to feel a bit lighter than they have been. This full moon is actually getting you ready for the next full moon that will be in Sagittarius, which will be your 12th house. So that'll be where you're wrapping up the end of a long cycle. And Saturn will actually be in retrograde in July, so coming up. And this is going to be more of an introspective time for you since Saturn rules your moon. It's going to be time for you to slow down and kind of just think about these last several years, everything that you had to go through, everything that you've overcome, and how you've grown. And maybe use this full moon to honor that, honor how far you've come, to celebrate that, right? It is your 11th house from your moon. And yeah, and so now the path now isn't going to require you to fight so hard. It wants you to celebrate and even let yourself feel supported by the people who you feel connected to, right? The 11th house is friends and support systems. And so, yeah, just let your vision for the future, your goals, your aspirations, let those feel included in the connection, not just like it's some accomplishment, but something that you actually grew into. So you're definitely entering a bit of a quieter phase, a bit of a wiser phase, and you are really more prepared for it than you realize it if you're not feeling it right now. So just use this full moon to celebrate yourself, and you've really come a long way from the last several years. The transits were not very kind, so now it's time to lighten up a little bit and look ahead. So I hope this was helpful for you. I just wanted to give kind of a mid-year check-in with all of these transits taking place, and we kind of are on the other half of the year now. And I will see you in another video. So take care. All right, Aquarius Moon. This full moon in Scorpio is taking place in the 10th house from your natal moon. So this is the house that deals with your career, karma, and just really the actions that you take out on the world stage. It also deals with your reputation. So it's a time to reflect on the actions that you've been taking in the world, especially at work and your career. And you are in the final phase of your Sati. So I know things have been really tough over the last few years, but now you are in the home stretch. So Saturn rules your moon. And when he moved into Pisces, this is actually the second house from your moon. So this indicates the resources that he's bringing into your life, right? So Sati is just one big, giant Saturn restructure of your emotional mind. And so he's going to bring in those resources now in a very Saturnian way. So it'll be slow, it'll be delayed, it'll be limited, and it may still feel like pressure. But this is all for good reason. So once you finish this cycle, you'll be stronger and better than you were a half decade ago. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Now, your career may be an emotional roller coaster for you, but don't let your fears hold you back from getting that recognition that you've worked really hard for. So your moon rules your 6th house from your moon, where Cancer sits. So this definitely shows a connection with your work, your effort, and just kind of being heads down sometimes. Now this full moon in Scorpio is going to be really putting a spotlight on that 10th house from your moon, that need to take action based on your own beliefs, not what others believe. So your courage is actually stemming from being a very unique individual whose hard work will be transformative, but it's going to ultimately lead to that personal and spiritual growth. So let this full moon remind you that everything that you've been building, even though it may be behind the scenes, quietly, patiently, maybe you've been feeling like you've been under pressure, all of those things are starting to take shape. So you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. And really your strength is in your integrity and how you stay true to yourself. So keep showing up with purpose, right? 10th house purpose. And, if you're not being recognized now, trust that it will come, but you don't need it. You don't need it because you already have that trust and integrity built in within. So, and when you do get recognized, it's not because, you chased it down, but it's definitely because you earned it. Okay. So you got a lot of that Artha energy connected. Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful, and I just wanted to do a quick check-in kind of mid-year to see, what's going on with your moon now that we've got all of these big transits kind of out of the way. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of the month, and I will see you in the next video. Pisces Moon. This full moon in Scorpio is taking place in your 9th house from your moon. So this is a house that deals with your beliefs, your higher learning. It also can deal with your father figures, teachers, mentors. And this full moon is going to be a time to really reflect on those things that bring meaning and purpose into your life. The 9th house is a very dharmic house. It's associated with your life purpose. And it's also a very fortunate and lucky house as well. So you are actually in the peak of your Sati period now that Saturn is in Pisces. So Saturn's on your natal moon. That can really feel intense. And, you may feel that need to just always be doing the right thing, be responsible, do what's right. So that can feel, really heavy. And a good thing, though, is Rahu and Ketu just shifted signs. So Rahu's no longer on your moon, and Ketu is no longer opposing your moon. So that should feel like a bit of some different energy there. Let's see. Yeah, Rahu over your natal moon could have brought some really intense desires and even some confusion around how to feel about it. Meanwhile, Ketu was opposing, which would bring challenges around detaching from all of it. So now that they've moved on, Saturn is there over your moon, and he can focus on restructuring, that part of your mind. Pisces mind, you're very carefree. So he wants to restructure that and strengthen it up. And that might be through surrender. That might be what your sign represents. So for you, courage is really the strongest tool for getting through these challenging aspects. You want to stay the course, and you can look forward to when Jupiter dips into Cancer later this year. He is going to turn retrograde, but this can give you some time to reflect on all of those changes that you've gone through so far, with when Saturn was 12th from your moon, and then when Rahu and Ketu were there. Now that energy has changed. So you're being shaped into someone that's got more wisdom. You're more resilient. Even though it feels really heavy, it can feel very crappy at times. So this full moon, Scorpio energy is all about letting go, right? So let go of those outdated beliefs. Yeah, let go of those outdated beliefs that are no longer supporting who you are growing into, who you are becoming. So you don't need to have all the answers right now, but just keep paying attention, keep listening, keep learning, and trusting that the work that you're going through now, this path is unfolding with purpose, right? It's meant to prepare you for something bigger, something greater. And there will be more clarity moving forward. And there is a lot of emotional renewal in the months ahead. So just keep that in mind. I hope this was helpful. I just wanted to do a quick check-in now that we had a bunch of shifts taking place, seeing where your moon's at, where your head's at, and I will see you in the next video. Aries Moon. This full moon is taking place in your 8th house from your moon. So full moon in Scorpio. This is the house that deals with your sudden transformation, hidden knowledge, occult knowledge, and also it's the house of other people's values. It's where you're dependent instead of independent. So you've actually just started your Sati period when Saturn moved into Pisces earlier this year. So Saturn is 12th from your moon, and he's going to start to restructure your emotional mind and your perspective on life by bringing, yeah, bringing some old cycles to an end, right? 12th house is the end of cycles. There's some things wrapping up here. And this could actually be old dreams or aspirations that are just not part of your life path moving forward anymore. Now, with this full moon in Scorpio, it's always a great time to let go. Scorpio is that moksha energy. So letting go of an old emotional attachment that may be holding you back. There's something that needs to be destroyed so that you can make room for that newness to enter into your life. So this could be an attachment connected to feelings of maybe being completely independent or never leaving your comfort zone, perhaps. Whatever it is, it's going to involve some kind of transformation, because that's just what Scorpio is all about. So looking from your moon, where Cancer is, moon rules the 4th house from your moon. So this shows really how your emotions are connected very deeply to your personal, your private life, your home life. And if we look at where moon debilitates, which is Scorpio, this is falling 8 houses away from your moon. So yeah, there's change. It could be a source of fear, but it shouldn't be. You know, change is the only constant that we have in this world. So we got to embrace it, because it always leads to growth. So yeah, this full moon is here to kind of break you away from what's no longer useful in your life, especially on your path of growing and developing and evolving. And it might feel uncomfortable, but you just got to realize that you're deep in on this journey, for it has a bigger purpose. So if it feels like your inner world is just being dismantled at some point, just trust that this clearing out is for a higher good. And it's really not about losing who you are. It's more about becoming more aligned with who you're meant to be. So release all that heavy stuff. Let's, focus on building that strength through surrender. Yeah, you're learning how to, be more comfortable in your own skin, and that's going to build more emotional maturity in the long run. Because once you have control over your emotions, then you can basically, you have power over anything, right? If you can control your emotions. So many people are victim to their emotions, and they let them rule their entire life, and they react, and it can just end up creating more disruption than what they've even planned on. So I hope this was helpful, and we'll see each other in another video. I just wanted to do a quick check-in since we've had all these big planets, all their major shifts have already taken place. We still have Jupiter going into Cancer later and then retrograding and that sort of thing, but the major shifts have taken place. So I just wanted to do a quick check-in to see where your head's at, where your moon is. And with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of the month, and I will see you in the next video. Taurus Moon, this full moon in Scorpio is taking place in the 7th house from your moon. So this is the house that deals with your committed relationships, your partnerships, business partners, romantic. And this full moon is a time to really reflect on your connection with others. Think about how you compromise, how agreeable are you, how you cooperate for the sake of your relationships. Now, Jupiter was just transiting over your moon for the last year or so, so he recently just moved into Gemini, the 2nd house from your moon. This is really excellent for feeling that growth and abundance, especially in the realm of what you value, perhaps even your finances, how you feel about your finances. And Uranus moved back over your moon earlier this year. So it went retrograde back into, it was over your moon for a little while last year and went back into Aries. And now it is in Taurus again, and it's here for the next 7 years or so. This planet represents rebellion, breakthroughs. It's kind of like the higher vibration of Mercury. So it's going to be influencing your emotional mind for the next 7 years. So this is, each time there's a lunar cycle in Taurus or a lunar cycle in Scorpio, your emotions are going to undergo that up and down feeling, that suddenness that's going to deal with your, your emotional attachments. But with each time it happens, there's going to be growth that takes you into the next phase, like baby steps. So the lesson here is really to pay attention to what's taking shape. Don't get too comfortable. Don't get too comfortable. That Taurus energy and Scorpio, both of those are fixed signs. But you shouldn't have too much to worry about, because Uranus really likes to keep things interesting. So because the moon, the moon debilitates 7 houses from your natal moon, this indicates some emotional attachments in relationships. This could lead to some boundary issues, dealing with maintaining personal space, things like that. So use this full moon to reflect on really how your emotions are connected to your relationships and how they're impacting your values and how you feel secure and safe. It's also going to be a reminder that, making that real connection with someone else doesn't mean losing yourself. It just means that you're growing alongside, you're building that part of yourself that's through the relationship, because really relationships teach us so much. They really do. They are that mirror of ourself. So there's a lot of changes unfolding. You're really learning how to show up more authentically in your relationships without compromising too much of yourself, without compromising your values and what makes you feel comfortable and safe, right? To share yourself with someone else. So this is kind of like a reset on your expectations, this full moon. You've come really far in understanding what you truly value. So that doesn't change. And you have to remember that change doesn't always have to be chaotic. So just keep that in mind. It also is that catalyst for helping you move to the next phase, to help you evolve in all the right ways. So I hope you found this helpful. I just wanted to do a quick check-in for your moon sign, see where your head's at now that we've had all these big shifts taking place this year. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Gemini Moon, this full moon in Scorpio is taking place in the 6th house from your moon. So this is the house of work and service and health and obstacles, overcoming problems. And so this is a time to reflect on how you handle your responsibilities, especially in things like your daily routines or any kind of relationships that require a lot of effort and compromise. Now, with Jupiter transiting over your moon, there is a lot of expansion happening within your emotional world. So this is going to bring you a sense of optimism, hope. Those things are starting to return. Jupiter was in your 12th house, so it felt a little deeper, a little more underneath the surface. But Jupiter brings growth as well as a lot of mental stimulation with his transit over your moon. So don't be surprised if your schedule fills up very quickly. He's going to really expand a lot there. Now, the moon rules the 2nd house from your moon, Cancer. So this is showing a link, an emotional link to your finances, your family, and your self-worth. Now, when moon transits Scorpio, it's going to highlight how you process challenges and whether you're really tending to your emotional and physical health. It's going to bring those things up at this time. So you're going to want to let this full moon kind of help you release those old patterns that create unnecessary stress for you, right? Scorpio is the sign of letting go. It's all about letting go. And for you in your 6th house, it could be where you're unnecessarily worried about things, or maybe where you're trying to control. So focus on what keeps you going, what sustains you, not what drains you. I had to put that in. I love the rhyme. And, small changes are going to really, it's the baby steps, are going to lead to the bigger changes over time. And that's really what that 6th house energy is about. It's the little changes, but not so much that you're getting overwhelmed. So I hope this was helpful. I just wanted to do a quick check-in now that we've had all these big planets moving, shifting signs this year, and we're heading into the latter half of the year. So I just wanted to do that quick check-in, and I hope you have a great rest of the month, and I will see you in the next video. Cancer Moon. This full moon in Scorpio is taking place in the 5th house from your moon. So this is the house that deals with romance, creativity, children, and really your sense of joy. And this full moon is always a great time to reflect on how you express yourself, what brings you genuine happiness. And with the moon ruling your chart, pretty much all the full moons will feel significant, but still when it occurs in Scorpio, this is your debilitation sign. So it can stir up some of those more intense emotional feelings, emotional reactions that need a more of a gentle approach, a gentle handling. So this Scorpio energy is really here to help bring attention to what you've been holding back creatively, right? The 5th house from the moon, this is where you feel creative. And if we look at the recent transits, Mars has been over your moon debilitated for quite some time now. And he just moved into Leo a few days before this full moon. So you may actually feel a little bit better. You feel less distracted. You have more focus now, especially when it comes to family matters, and just expressing your thoughts and opinions. You may be having more clarity at this time now that the planet ruling your moon isn't debilitated. So actually Jupiter is transiting your 12th house right now that he's moved into Gemini. So this could be expanding your inner world, your spiritual world, encouraging you to be more reflective, take more time for solitude. And, this full moon, just use this to reconnect with what makes you happy and what makes you feel creative. And Scorpio's letting go. So let go of any of those old emotional patterns that are blocking your ability to feel creative, to love freely, to have fun. It's really about the more you trust yourself, the more space you can create to be inspired. And that can feel very healing if you let it. So use this full moon, this bright moon, lighting up your 5th house from your moon to really show those things that you need to let go in order for you to feel more creative and more expressive. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful, Cancer. I just wanted to do a quick check-in, kind of mid-year, see where your moon's at, see where your head's at now that we've had all these major shifts take place and we got those new energies going on. So with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Leo Moon. This full moon is taking place in your 4th house from your moon. So the Scorpio full moon is lighting up your house of home, inner peace, your emotional foundations. It's where you find peace of mind. It's your private, personal space. And so this is going to be a very reflective time that's going to bring up themes around family, your sense of security, what truly feels like home to you, where you're making those emotional connections. So your moon rules the 12th house from your moon, where Cancer sits. So this transit naturally stirs up some deeper emotions, desires for spiritual connections, the desire to maybe just get some rest. And Jupiter is now transiting the 11th house from your moon. So this is really supportive. This is going to support your long-term goals. It's going to help you feel more hopeful about the future. And, even if you're still figuring it out, it's still going to bring that hope, that new mindset. Now, this can be an intense several weeks as you try to navigate your feelings of what to do, like how to act, and also simultaneously wanting to detach, right? That's that Mars K2 conjunction that's closing in over your moon. So that's going to be, that could feel really intense. But if we're looking at the full moon in Scorpio, this is going to help you release some old emotional attachment, some old emotional baggage, right? Scorpio is a great excuse to let go. It's the things that are no longer useful. So it could be connected to your past, could be kind of nostalgic. And it might be some sort of family dynamic, or just maybe an internal thinking pattern that you've had that's just no longer working out for you. Now, there's strength that's coming from you learning to be able to feel safe in your own head, within yourself. So let this full moon really, support those emotional roots that you're building, and almost kind of rebuild your sense of peace from the inside out, right? We've got this fourth house. Fourth house is moksha energy. So and Scorpio is letting go. So there's like double letting go energy that is going to open you up, going to free you for new perspectives once you get through this period. So let that bright full moon really, shine a light on what you need to release at this time. That's going to bring you peace. With that being said, I hope that you have a great rest of the month. I really just wanted to check in to see where your moon's at, where your head's at, now that we've got all of these planets that have changed signs now for the year. And we still have a couple more, but the major ones have already changed and they're going to be settling in. So I just wanted to take a look at that. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Virgo Moon, this full moon is in Scorpio. It's happening in your third house from your moon. So this is going to govern your communications, your effort, your courage. You can even deal with your friends or your siblings. And this is going to be a time to reflect on how you speak and what you say yes to. And it's really going to matter about whether your daily actions are lining up with how you feel emotionally connected. Is that matching up with your inner truth? So Scorpio really stirs up some emotional intensity around how you are relating to others. That's that third house, especially if you've been holding back your voice or not asking for what you need. Yes, K2 has been transiting over your moon for the last 18 and a half months. So you just entered Leo on May 29th. So this is definitely going to open up a more spiritual side to your emotions, while also bringing back some of that personal desire, even a renewal in your relationships now that Rahu is no longer opposing your moon. And the moon for you rules the 11th house from your moon. So this is really linked to, this is showing a connection between your emotions and your friendships, your expectations. And if we look at Jupiter now, he's transiting your 10th house. So this is going to provide some support to your career and even like your public endeavors. Even if you're still adjusting to what all that means, Jupiter is going to support you there. Now, this full moon is going to remind you that, third house, that your words have power. So it's only if they come from a place of honesty. It's only if they're words that you're going to be able to connect to your heart. So let this full moon just illuminate that part of your life to show you what you need to let go, what you don't need to let hold you back from expressing something that feels real. So it really is time to speak with intention and courage. And with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of the month. I just wanted to do a quick check-in, mid-month or a mid-year check-in to see, you know, how your moon is doing with all of these transits that have taken place. Now that we've got the big shifts out of the way. So with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Libra Moon, this full moon is taking place in your second house from your moon. So this is your house of personal values, finances, speech, stability, it's your resources. So this is a time to reflect on really what you've been holding on to, either materially or emotionally. So they might be keeping you from really feeling secure, depending on what you're holding on to. So the moon rules their 10th house from your moon, and this is linking your emotions to your career, your public identity, where you feel responsible. And when the moon transits Scorpio, this is dealing with your sense of worth. You may be feeling tested in that area, but it's only meant to help you see where your deeper value truly lies. So we're talking about your long-term vision. So this is a time to possibly, with this full moon, to reassess what you value, not just what you've been told to value. That's something to think of. And Scorpio energy is letting go, right? So let go of what no longer is reflecting your values, what's not reflecting your truth. So, you know, what you invest your time and energy into now is going to nourish you long term. So just think about that. Don't invest in any quick fixes, because ultimately, you know, you're going to have to, my kitty, that's a good omen. So invest in the long term, not just those quick fixes. You know what I'm talking about. So I hope this was helpful. I just wanted to do a quick check-in to, you know, see where your moon's at, see where your head's at now that all of the major shifts have taken place this year. And I hope you have a great rest of the month. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video.